Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. So, as usual, can someone let me know if we are live and if everything is doing well, audio, video, and if not, we'll get straight into it. So, I'll give you guys a couple of seconds in case anyone wants to join, and then we'll dive right into the analysis. So I think, you know what, we'll start in case we don't have anyone in the live chat. And what we'll do is as usual. So let's recap what happened on this job during this week as well, because we haven't done any YouTube update. And that's because, as I've said previously, I'm trying to finalize the imbalance scores. As you can see very quickly, if anyone doesn't know what imbalances are, the only hourly imbalance that appeared during this entire uptrend marked the high on Bitcoin. But in any case, so what happened during this week? Well, it's everything looks fine. Thank you, Roderick. I hope you're doing well. Jean-Pierre, good to see you as well. I hope you're both doing well. Thank you for letting me know. So let's recap what happened. Well, honestly, it's been a pretty accurate week, I would say. So if we go back to Monday, I had just one support level, which I shared last week actually, but I reminded you of it Monday, which was, where was it? So it was, no. Okay, so it was this one, by the way. So this was it on Monday, if the chart can load, but I did share it. This was last Friday. Okay, so as you can see, I had two support levels. The first one was 102.3, and then you had this area below. So very simply on Monday, when I woke up, I saw that this support had offered a very nice reaction. So what I said was very simple, is that this range was still holding and I didn't see any other levels. Okay, so this was my only level and this higher time frame range was still holding. So I simply wanted to wait. We got another job. This was on the 4 hour, but we got another job into the support. We had a reaction. So at this point, I wanted to see a bounce into these resistance, so $104,000 pretty much, to then see a reversal later in the week. So again, I thought that we bounced a bit to see a drop later in the week. Very simple. So we got the bounce. As you can see, it was a retest of support. So I was able to open a long position. I took it up to these resistances. At this point, we didn't have any reactions, but I still implemented a take profit on my long. I closed 50%. We had an imbalance. I did try. It's taking a bit of time to load today, but again, we had an imbalance. So I did try to hedge my long, turned into a loss. And at this point, I just wanted to remain long and chill. And then apart from this, this was Wednesday. No, this was Tuesday. So again, Tuesday, we had two levels. 104.3, 103.2. We dropped into the first one, 104.3, which offered a beautiful bounce. So right there, I could have averaged up on my long position. I don't really care, but again, would have been a nice average up. And if anyone wasn't in a long position, this was a pretty easy trade to take in my opinion. You got the bounce and yeah, you know, that was pretty much it. So then we go to Friday once again. That was Friday. I had this first support area, but then we dropped through it. And when we saw the bounce, I didn't like this low because, well, we dropped through my area, which I didn't like. Also, I really didn't like that wick. There was a lot of things that I did not like about that low. So I wanted to see another drop into this new support area to then see a bounce to the upside. And well, let's go over to the charts. We got the drop, we got a bounce, which was a bounce of 2.5% pretty much. So again, pretty accurate levels this week. We called this low, we called this low, and we called this low. All offered very nice bounces. We are now in the process of retesting this support area with an imbalance. So if you want, you could open a long position. If you want to trade on a Sunday night, that's your choice, but probably you would do something like this, long stop loss below these lows, and your first take profit would be, in my opinion, the fill of this imbalance for a nice 5-to-1 RRR. But in any case, with all of that said, what am I expecting next for this week? So the first thing that I want to say is that yes, we did have this only hourly imbalance. You can see beautiful during this entire uptrend. We had one which marked the high, but honestly, I don't like this high at all. If you go on the 4 hour, we don't have any imbalance. Even if you go on the 12 hour, I'm not a big fan of the structure. Overall, I just don't think it's a very pretty high, for the main reason that especially on the 4 hour, we don't have an imbalance. So to me, ugly high. I will look for price to come back up and clean up this high, potentially for another fake out. So if you get a very strong bounce, maybe $114,000, you front on the major psychological level at 115 and then reverse to the downside. This does remain to be seen, of course, but my main plan for this week would be for price to come back up and take out this high. So a couple of things to be aware of before I move on is that yes, even though I don't like this high, we do have an imbalance on the weekly. I just remove this. So we do have an imbalance right there, and not the strongest close. Okay, so that's one thing to note, right? It doesn't mean that you cannot take the high. We could very easily do something like this, which is honestly what I would be looking for. But just be aware of the fact that we have now a weekly imbalance and a swing failure pattern of the all-time high. Okay, so that's the only thing I would note. On the daily, I would have liked to see a second daily imbalance, try to see a buying climax. This didn't happen. Another reason why I don't like the high. So okay, you get the point. I don't like this high. So what can you look for this week? So first of all, of course, we have the support. As I said, if you guys don't mind trading on Sunday night, personally, I do believe that the trade was offered down there. So if you took that long, you would have seen that bounce. You implement a take profit one, right? You had two hourly imbalances. So you implement a take profit one on this high. And then right there, you can decide maybe to close, maybe to replenish your long position, or just to place a hard stop loss below these lows. Okay, so how you manage your position if you took a long down there, which was in my opinion the right setup. Right now it's just a bit less strong in my view, but again, if you took the long, you implement the take profit one, and now all you have to do is wait. Okay, so if you're not in a long and you want to wait for tomorrow, what can you wait for? Okay, so if you go on the daily, let me see. So we have this wick maybe. Let me mark this out first. You're on the 12 hour. Okay, I like this on the 12 hour. So we have the open of this 12 hour. If you're on the 4 hour, we have another big wick. So let's go on the 1 hour. Okay, so I think I want to mark out this order block on the hourly. So if we do lose the support, that's what I would look for first. It would be this hourly order block around $104,500, call it. And by the way, as I said again, you can take this long position. It's a very acceptable long position. I have opened a long, by the way, on my more conservative account. So again, what you can do, open the long, stop loss at these lows, and you would aim, at least in my opinion, for a break back above this high, okay? But I do remain in my long position on my more aggressive account, down from $102,000, and for this one I will just hold it back to break even. But again, for support, second support will be down there. If we go on the 30-minute, we do have, okay, I do like the volume down there, so this could offer a good retest. Okay, so pretty much for now I would look for these two levels. Okay, first support, you have a 30-minute, you have an hourly. This is a very valid long setup. If you lose it, or maybe if you bounce and then lose it, let's say later in the week, then you could still get something like this. Okay, so you could actually be offered two long positions in my opinion. First support, second support, and that's all I want to talk about for Bitcoin. Now to the upside, okay, my bad. I'm just going to remove this because I like to keep my charts clean, but if we drop, just keep in mind we have that level. To the upside, we have this 4-hour imbalance that you have to be aware of, and then you could mark out an area once again. So you would have this to the upside as a resistance, and in my opinion, a target for your long position. Again, if you opened it, took profit, or maybe if you opened it now, this would be your target for your long position. Very simple stuff. And if you see a reaction, then in my opinion, this could actually offer a short position, okay? So maybe if we do bounce here, right, and we do something like this, then I might open a short position if I like the volume, if I like the reaction. This could offer a short position for drop down towards this order block, and then maybe you get a reversal to the upside, okay? So I do believe that this is possible. Maybe we range a bit more, chop around a bit more, and then go for a new high, okay? But overall, you get my point. I hope that I'm not talking too much, but I don't like this high. You have a first support, you have a second support, and that's where I want to end it, okay? So with that said, I also want to remove this. Altcoins, I do believe that are like, they are flashing, maybe not signals, but I think that we have good things to look for on altcoins. First of all, Ethereum last week, what did I tell you? I wanted to see a drop on Bitcoin because I wanted to see Ethereum hit this target and support, which was very simply the open of this daily candle, okay? So this was my target and support. You can see beautiful drop into it, beautiful reaction, and then a massive bounce to the upside of 16.5%, okay? So a massive trade, very easy level, and again, very easy trade that I gave you in my last live stream. So on Ethereum, the reason that you could expect one more sweep on Bitcoin is because we have these lows and we have this imbalance, which I don't necessarily need to get filled, but I would expect at least this open to get taken, okay? So 2,427, you could mark out an area, which would be maybe not an area, but two levels, this one and then this one. For now, I just need to be aware of this one, okay? So I do believe that we got a sweep on Ethereum, okay? Maybe something like this, and then reverse to the upside. On the other hand, we could very simply hit that support, okay? And then reverse to the upside. So any one of these two levels, just trade the reaction, trade price action, should be very simple, and I will be inside the Discord assisting you, okay? So if I'm not trading Ethereum, you guys can simply send me a message, as you usually do, to see if you have imbalances, if you have an acceptable reaction, and maybe even if I open a long position as well, okay? But overall, Ethereum, we sent one support, offered a massive bounce to the upside. For other altcoins, I'm still looking at Pengu. Okay, we have a 12-hour down there, which is also a daily. So again, this points towards maybe one more drop on Bitcoin and Ethereum. CRV, this one I don't think it will get reached. Solana, maybe, but unlikely. Sui, I do think that this one will reach support. So again, one more drop. Pepe, again, I do think that this one can drop a bit more towards the support. Popcat as well, I do believe that this can drop more. So when I look at all of these altcoins, this does tell me that we could see one more drop on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, it could be just on Ethereum, and for example, Bitcoin could, let's go on Bitcoin. So maybe Bitcoin could very simply bounce, you know, and while it does this, altcoins just go sideways, and then we get maybe another deep retracement for a higher low. And when you get that drop, altcoins will drop lower, and then you get a bounce, okay? Doesn't really matter, just focus on the levels. And that would mainly be it, honestly. Very simple. I hope so. So Kaito, not much there again. Stock market, I'll do a quick recap. We did share one resistance, which was this one. Again, very simple. My bad. So very simple, daily imbalance. I shared this level last week. You can see a very nice rejection. You do have a second daily imbalance, which is actually nice to see. So I do believe that on the stock market, we get one more drop and then potentially bounce back towards this imbalance. And right there, you could see if it offers resistance for another reversal lower, or of course, if you get a new high. But overall on the stock market, that's what I would look for. So again, that's mainly it. I will do a quick recap because maybe I've talked too much. Okay, let's keep it very simple. Bitcoin, you have one support there. and you have a second support down there, which is this order block. So let me mark it out. So which is this order block. I think both trades are acceptable, are good. In my opinion, for this one, the best setup would have been right there. You take the long, you see the bounce, you see two imbalances, you implement a take profit, you see the drop, and now you have a choice. Do you close? Do you replenish your long? Or do you just put a hard stop loss below these lows? It's all up to you. Or do you open a long position now, which I have done honestly, because right there I was asleep, by the way. And if we lose that level, we do have another very interesting support level down there, which also could offer a very nice bounce to the upside. My first target would be this 4-hour imbalance up there. And if you're able to clear this $110,000 and $700, then anyways, overall, I am expecting a new all-time high. So maybe if you want to get a bit more chop, you bounce, you drop, you bounce again. Okay, so that's possible. And that's mainly what I'm looking for on Bitcoin. For Ethereum, again, we have this first support below us. Okay, just mark out 2 levels if you want. I like to keep my charts clean. So the first support would be this one. The second one would be the fill of the hourly. For Ethereum, I would look for another bounce to the upside. So does anyone have any question? Can you look at Chia and Aave? Of course. Francesco, hello, by the way. Actually, we did. I just want to look at. I do remember we covered one altcoin, DGB. Yeah, okay. So we did get a very nice bounce off the first support level. DGB, how big of a bounce was that? 13% pretty much. Again, very nice bounce off of support. So now that you came back down below it, you can look at this one. So you said Tia and Aave. I was looking at Tia in the past actually, so let me try to find it. This one. I'll be honest. I don't like this coin. The lows are too deep, and that's why I stopped looking at it. I mean, this one and this one were pretty nice, but this one is just an ugly low in my opinion. So now again you have another deep low. Doesn't mean that you cannot bounce, but I wouldn't look too long this coin. Okay, you have stronger coins out there in my opinion. If you want to outline support, I mean, you can be aware of this, okay, which has been hit already actually. 1 hour maybe. Yeah, so that would be your first support on TI. You can see you have an imbalance, but again, in my opinion, this coin just doesn't look good at all. Okay, so you can trade it if you want. Meh, I don't like it. And then you said Aave. So Aave USDT. So get Binance. Okay, so this looks very strong, of course. You still have this double top to take out. Right there. So at least you have a target to the upside. Any quarterly pivots, of course not, have already been hit. So let's start on the daily. Okay, you have this very big wick, so taking the open would be very nice. Plus massive order block and the 12-hour. So I would say you have 2 levels on Aave. I would prefer this one because I mean the daily open, you could fill that wick, but I think a lot of people might be waiting for this. So I think I will just mark this on Aave. Okay, so this would be your support right there. So from 232 to 228, pretty simple support. Okay, if you can drop into it, okay, you would look for something like this to take out this high. And I would say dropping from here would be the most bullish scenario because then you would be leaving this double top as a target for later in the future. Okay, however, if you move up first and then drop, that would be a bit more bearish because now you don't really have any liquidity to target. Okay, so if you drop first, I would think that looking for longs down there could be pretty interesting. Yeah, that's it for Aave. Pretty simple. So if that's it for everyone, we could keep the stream a bit shorter today, which I don't mind at all. Sui, of course, we've been asked about Sui multiple times. I would say, just be aware of that support. You can see I have an alert myself, um, in case I decide to trade. But I mean, I'll be honest, Bitcoin has just been trading very well, and can hide this for now. Bitcoin has been trading very well and respecting every support level. I mean, to the dollar pretty much. So yeah, I don't think altcoins are very interesting to me at this point. So if you bounce, you probably want to bounce soon, right? You want to see a bit of like an engulfing pattern after you see an imbalance. So not the healthiest price action after you see an imbalance. And again, that's why I said that the best setup was there, because when you get this, I mean that's your third retest actually, because you had a second, a bounce, so a third one. How likely is it that you bounce? I don't know, but I think it's worth the risk anyway, at least for myself. So, we appreciate a great stream, my boy. Thank you, Nicholas. Okay, so if that's it, I think you guys don't have any more altcoins that you want me to cover. I don't think we need to recap. I've already done it. You have an imbalance failed to target to the upside, in my opinion. I would remove this. Overall, I think this is a pretty ugly high, which I would target for a new all-time high. And then we could see, because at least I want to see a buying climax, which we haven't seen yet, in my opinion. So if we can maybe get that bigger drop, again, it doesn't matter where we bounce from, but I would like to see a bit of a buying climax. Okay, so if I give you an example, okay, just before we end the stream, what we saw on Ethereum, okay, so it was right there on the hourly. So you had 4 hourly imbalances in a row. Ideally, that's what I want to see on Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't have to be three, like three in a row would already be good, or at least a 4 hour imbalance at the highs, which we don't have yet. Again, let's go back to the charts. We don't have a 4 hour imbalance at the highs. I need to see more volume to tell me that this is a strong high. For now, I don't like this one, which is why I want to look for a new all-time high. First support, second support, and if you lose it, well, I mean, just look for the fill of this 4 hour, but honestly, I wouldn't like it, which is why I haven't talked about it, okay? This is still a level that you have to be aware of, but I mean, if you drop that far, that would be, I mean, it could offer the bounce, but that would be just so ugly in my opinion, okay? So, which is why these two levels, my bad, so are much more interesting in my opinion. And with all of that said, if you don't, do you use lower size on alts? Well, it depends. It depends how accurate my entry is. Because look, guys, I'll be honest. Like, if you don't want to believe me, don't. But the last time I've traded alts was actually the first time I have, which was right there. So that was gone, and that was CRV. So if you look at the setup on CRV, my stop loss was, I think, on spot 0.5%. So right there, I kept my size exactly the same, okay? But, like if I long an altcoin and then the move on spot will be like 2% below, then of course I'll have to size down. We can try to find this trade on CRV. So it was on the 1 hour. It was this one. Yep, I remember. So it was this one. Fill of the hourly, you can see, and that's where I long. So I believe that my entry was right there. And if you see percentage wise, you see like it's less than 1%. It's nothing. I take the exact same risk on Bitcoin. So when I have these low percentage stop loss, I can keep my position size the same. I mean, it's a very simple concept to understand. However, if you get a bigger reaction, for example, so we can look maybe, I don't know, we can look at this row, for example. Let's say that right there, I wanted to open a long, and then I have a stop loss of 2%. Then at this point, yes, probably I would have to reduce my position size by 50%, for example, since my risk is twice as big. But as long as the risk, at least for me on spot, is below 1%, I'm always happy to take. I'm always happy to take full position size. Okay, let me just drink some water. I can't open it. So, pretty simple. Sorry for that. And yeah, so simple concept. I mean, your size is based on your risk, okay? So it's not based on the coin or whatever. If you're risking, again, I'm talking about spot. I don't know, like less than 1%, this is still a very easy trade to take in my opinion. I'm talking for like the size. If you have a bigger stop loss, that's when, at least for me, that's when I reduce my position sizes. Okay, so let me remove this. Back to Bitcoin. Are we seeing any sort of a bounce? Not at all. Not my favorite reaction, I have to admit, after this hourly imbalance. What is Binance doing? You have one on Binance as well. You have a second one, so volume is looking pretty good on Binance actually. Okay, so if I had to bet, in my opinion, we bounce into the close, and maybe tomorrow, you know, on New York Open, maybe we range a bit, maybe get another drop, and then move higher to take out that high. So right there. And then you can look for the fill of this imbalance. But let's see if that holds going into tomorrow. So how long are you profitable? I would say how long? For about just over a year, I would say, probably. Just over a year, let's say. And how long did it take you to be profitable? To me, it took me 5 years, if not more. How long have you traded Bitcoin? So I got in the alt because before trading crypto, I was actually trading stocks. That's what you have to understand. So wait, what was the question? How long have you traded Bitcoin? I think I've traded Bitcoin for, man, I'd say 5 years as well, actually. Right? Yeah, I think 5 years. But again, before trading Bitcoin, I was trading stocks. So I used to be a day trader on stocks. It didn't work out. It was a bit it was a bit too hard, but I did learn a lot. So yeah. Any other questions? How long has the stream been going on? Less than 30 minutes, so that's fine. You know, if you guys have more questions and you altcoins, I'll be happy to take them. If not, then we'll be done, right? We can maybe stay a bit to see what Bitcoin is doing. You know, do you guys want me to stay on just to try? I mean, I told you I'm already in a long, so you guys can just like, you know, I don't have to wait anymore. I have placed a hard stop loss at these lows because I don't want to be glued on the charts on Sunday night. And yeah, that's it. I mean, for this one, I have a hard stop loss, but usually I use soft stop losses. Man, I can't talk today. Yeah, personally, always use soft stop losses. But again, volume on Binance is looking pretty well with 2 30-minute imbalances at this low. This no, nothing. No. I think this one closes in 30 minutes. This will be an important close in my opinion. Okay. So if you're not in a long and you want to wait, I think you could wait 30 minutes. Okay. So wait for the close of this early candle and then decide if you want to open a long position. Personally, again, I'm still as well in my long. Where did I open it from? 102.5. So I'm still in that long position with 50% closed at 104.5. So right there. Okay, so this position hasn't changed at all. So Could you check link? Of course. POH 5 years, great, you kept on going. What's POH? Or did you mean 5 years? Yeah, I had a long journey, man. And that's why I did tell you I want to make, and I will make a YouTube video, a full YouTube video on my journey. I think it will be a very, very nice video for people to learn from. So you can check link, of course. Link on the higher time frames, we did, I mean, this was a while ago, right? It was on that low. We had support on a lot of coins, and this was the major support that I had shared on link for a big bounce to the upside. This one worked out beautifully from the low of the support to the high. I mean, come on, 75%. Even if you bought it on spot, so no leverage, 75% is still a massive move to the upside. But on link, I would say you actually have a beautiful level right there, so I don't even have to do anything. 13.8. You have a daily imbalance, you have a 12-hour imbalance, you have an order block, and you have previous lows. So as you can see, you have low, 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 almost resistance. So this could work out kind of as a first low, deviation, up, down, retest, and then you move higher. Okay, so that would be what I'm looking for on link. Did you fill this daily? Okay, you didn't fill this, so that would be a nice target right there. This would be your first target for link. That would be it. Do we have a quarterly pivot? We don't. This has been hit. So yeah, that would be it on link. Honestly, pretty simple. Drop 13.8, and if you see the reaction, open that long position for a move towards 18.3. And if it drops lower, just be aware of that support as well. I wouldn't like this one. It's still possible. Be aware of it. 13.1. Again, trade the reactions. Don't put limit orders. At least that's my view. I don't like limit orders because if you just do this and you have no reaction, then you would have taken a loss for no reason. So again, why put limit orders when you can just wait for reactions? So that's it for link. Again, you can be aware of that support, but in my opinion, the bigger one would be 13.8. Back to Bitcoin, anything on the 30-minute? Pretty slow. I mean, it's a Sunday night, right? Yeah, it's not moving really. But that was a very nice bounce. Okay, if anyone took a very nice bounce, 2.5%. Any other questions? POH is Dutch. I forgot. It means big impression in a good way. Oh, I see. Thanks. I don't speak Dutch, unfortunately. I'd like to learn more languages, but man, I mean, I speak 3 already, so it's fine, right? Nice, thanks. Of course. So I think we don't have any more questions. Okay, so let's end it right there. If anyone has just joined, again, first support here, second support down there. If you want the number, so around 104,500, that would be your second support. Honestly, I would like to see a bounce here for now. Okay, so bounce into the weekly open, and then we can see tomorrow, you know, do we get offered a short position? Honestly, personally, I'm not interested in shorting here, but I mean, do we get, for example, a reversal to that lower support? Okay, and then see that bounce higher, and I don't like this high. So enough yapping for me. I think I've talked too much about the same levels. Pretty stupid. But thanks everyone for joining. We did see a new chatter, which I always appreciate. Roderick, it was nice to see you. Hope to see you in the future live streams. If you want to join our Discord, by the way, it's free and the link will be down in the description. And that's where I share all my levels. For example, this one, which did no, my bad. It wasn't this one. For example, let's do this again. This one, which did offer a very nice bounce, as you can see. On Monday as well, let's go back to it and I'm done. So on Monday, we had this support level, which I took my trade from and still is in right now. So again, Thank you everyone for your questions. Two support levels to be aware of on Bitcoin, very simple. I personally expect a new all-time high still, and then from there we can see what happens. Do we get a buying climax for a big reversal to the downside, or do we just push higher to the next major psychological levels, which will be $115,000 and then $120,000? So see you tomorrow, everyone, and I hope you all had a great weekend. Took some time off the charts, I sure did, as I always do. And let's go on to another profitable trading week, right? This week. I mean, we did call pretty nice levels, so let's see if we can do this again this week. So again, thank you everyone, and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.